Hey Storytimers, welcome back to Storytime with Assad. I have with me today Queen of Air and Darkness. The highly anticipated Shadowhunter book, which released in December 2018. And if you look back at my January reads, I actually presented that book as one of my January reads, but we're in April and well, that January reads didn't go as planned, clearly. But I'm finally finished with it. Here we are. Queen of Air and Darkness. It is the third and final story in the Dark Artifices trilogy, which is actually the third Shadowhunter series that's out right now. Queen of Air and Darkness actually takes place right after the events of Lord of Shadows, and Lord of Shadows ended with a major cliffhanger. I wouldn't give it away, but a very innocent and strong character actually was killed by Annabelle Blackthorn. And if you guys must know, Annabelle Blackthorn is, I would personally say, she is a good person. She is resurrected. And you know what they say about necromancy, once you resurrect someone, they're on the same person, and that's kind of exactly what happened here, or what took place at the end of Lord of Shadows. And it's very sad because I know that Annabelle Blackthorn, in her life, her real life, she was a good person. So it's kind of hard to see her in this state in Queen of Air and Darkness. Queen of Air and Darkness was actually a very easy read. The writing was very flawless, as you would expect from a Cassandra Clare novel, and it's actually written in third person. The second thing that I loved about the book was character development, or character description. So we have a bunch of characters, and it's actually intense. I think it is probably the most intense Shadowhunter series. Because the Infernal Devices and the Mortal Instruments, there were, like, you had characters, but not as much as you had to follow through with the Dark Artifices. And I think Cassandra Clare did a really great job with respect to each character's development and their story and how they may impact in the following series. Thirdly, if you are a huge Cassandra Clare fan like I am, you would understand that Cassandra Clare, she does this really expansive and explosive description of the scenery, and the environment is very intense, because I personally think you need the very beginning of the Shadowhunter series to understand the expansion of it and the growth of the Shadowhunter world. Like, I honestly, when I started the Shadowhunter series and I fell in love with it, I did not expect it to get as intense as it would. But the way how the new novels are being written in the Shadowhunter world, it's bringing together a lot of events that took place prior to each book that's been released, essentially. I can't even say like one book before, or it's like I think you always have to go back to the previous novels, and because Cassandra Clare has a lot of references from even the first book to the second to last book kind of thing, so it's a lot to take in. The final pro of Queen of Air and Darkness is actually bringing together the Shadowhunter world. So like I said initially, the Shadowhunter world is, I use the term loosely, forever expanding, because we have new characters coming in, we have new developments, and how these characters, how they impact on the story, and how they drive the story forward into probably the last two trilogies that are about to be released in about 6-7 years. I don't know. Throughout 6 to 7 years. I do love the fact that she's bringing together the Shadowhunter world, but at the same time she's tearing it apart. And if it is you read the Shadowhunter novels, you'd understand when I say that, because each novel she really brings these characters out. She makes you relate to them, and at the same time, she breaks your heart. These characters break your heart, and it's something we need to accept from Cassandra Clare. I love that about her. I love when characters break my heart. I love it. I love it. I love it. I don't know what else to say. On the flip side of prose, we have the cons of Queen of Air and Darkness. And the first con I have is the fact that there was a joke in Lady Midnight, which is the first book in the Dark Artifices series. It is Lady Midnight. Remember I said that we have Emma Carstairs on the cover of the first Dark Artifices book. So Emma actually made a joke in the very beginning. No, not the very beginning, but at some point in this book, a joke about a hot fairy threesome. So what do we know? The hot fairy threesome actually happened in Queen of Air and Darkness, and I am beyond disturbed, I should say. It's not my thing. But I mean, the thing is, fairies, they are allowed to have more than one partner, but it's kind of creepy because I'm not used to that thing, and it just weirds me out a bit. And the thing is, like, it's not like the characters in the threesome actually they don't have anybody else. It is, they actually do have other potential partners. Don't know what they're doing. But anyways, I mean, I would love to say I ship it, but the thing is, I do like the relationship they have with each other, but I personally don't think a love triangle can actually work in that sense, you know, because at some point you're gonna have conflict, as if two people weren't enough, three, I don't know. There are, like, I know Cassandra Clare loves descriptions. She loves bringing to life characters and, you know, little things about them, like tidbits. But there were a couple scenes in the book, and whether they were short scenes or lengthy scenes, I personally think they weren't necessary. And that's one thing I think Cassandra Clare does in her books, especially now, because as you realize, or if you've been in the Shadowhunter world, you realize the books actually are bigger. You know, except Red Scrolls of Magic and I think the upcoming novel Chain of Gold. But let me just show you, for example. So you've seen the size of Lady Midnight. It's quite big. I think it is, it's actually 669 pages as compared to Lord of Shadows. So we have Julian Blackthorne on the cover of Lord of Shadows, which is the second novel of the Dark Artifices. And this book is actually, I think, 699 pages. And followed by Queen of Air and Darkness, which is actually the largest of the Shadowhunter books and the largest in the Dark Artifices series. And it is 880 pages, excluding the short story at the very end. Yeah, so I think there is a drive to actually have larger books, larger books, and I personally think a lot of scenes could have been removed, if not a lot, but a good bit of them. Like, to me, they weren't necessary. I know the Dark Artifices series is solely based on the two protagonists, Emma Carstairs and Julian Blackthorne. However, I personally think that Queen of Air and Darkness focused a lot on Emma Carstairs and Julian Blackthorne. And I don't know, like, it was kind of, I don't know how to explain it, to be honest. The thing is, yes, again, they are the protagonists, but I felt like there was potential to have more of the other characters taking center stage, because those are the characters that will play a major role in the following series. Uh, I like Julian and Emma. I did like them in the very beginning, but they kind of got annoying after a while. I usually get that with protagonists, and I don't know, it's something I can probably work on, in terms of trying to have a bit more attraction or a bit more relation to the protagonist. But I just think they were overdone, especially their love scenes, their attraction scenes. Don't get me started on their sex scenes. It was too much. Oh my god, I don't even want to go there. The other thing is, I personally thought that Julian Blackthorne was a dick, and he reminded me a lot of Jace Herondale in the Mortal Instruments series, and I did not like Jace, particularly when he lost all of his emotions. It was like, I understand you can lose your emotions and stuff, like I've seen that in Vampire Diaries, but I think Jace was terrible, and I thought Julian Blackthorne was even worse. So I did not like that. It was kind of repetitive. I think there's like a foreshadowing from Jace Herondale to Julian Blackthorne, and they had the same personality, and it just wasn't working for me. I did not like it at all. I understand why he did it, but it's overdone. Like I don't know. I just don't like it. One other thing I did not like about Queen of Air and Darkness is the fact that our model, Annabelle Blackthorne, didn't really do much in the book. And to me that was very disappointing, because Annabelle, to me, she had an important role to play in the events that took place in Dark Artifices, and Annabelle got killed midway through. I'm sorry for this spoiler, but I just have to say it, because I was very disturbed and distraught by the fact that she barely did anything in Queen of Air and Darkness. And to me, if it is you have a character on the front of the cover, they represent a major role, and Annabelle, I don't know. Annabelle didn't have a role in this book, if you really look at it. All she did was that she was just there. She was just running, basically, and that's kind of coward of her, because Cassandra Clare introduced her as this strong character, or even stronger of the fact that she's, raised from the dead, even though she's not herself. She remembers her past, but when you're raised from the dead, to me, you're a bit more powerful, because you don't have emotions. And Annabelle, what happened to Annabelle? She was supposed to be the center of Queen of Air and Darkness. She is the Queen of Air and Darkness, and to me, she should have lasted for the final battle. She should have been that person, that center role in the war. And Emma and Julian should have actually been the one to battle Annabelle, not Annabelle being slain by Julian before they left Thule. Thule, actually, for spoilery, is actually a dimension. I won't go into details, but I actually love that dimension. But oh my god, no! You can't do this. You can't put a character like Annabelle on the front of the third book and hype up her character in Lord of Shadows, or even Lady Midnight, and then have her get slain midway through this book. She didn't even put up a fight, and I'm very disappointed in that. So I think more work could have been done with respect to Annabelle and her role in Queen of Air and Darkness. Final thing with respect to cons, actually I wouldn't even label it as a con, but it's kind of like a miscellaneous thought. It's something I don't know where to stand, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. I felt like Queen of Air and Darkness was actually a mid-book, like a book in the middle of a series, as compared to it being the end of a series. Like, there were so many things unresolved, and you see a lot of that in the Shadowhunter books. And it's kind of, especially with new books coming out and the length of books, it's kind of hard to keep track of those little tidbits in the books. I don't know, like, it ended in a way that I don't know how to feel. Like I don't feel closure. And when I finish a book, especially a series or a trilogy or whatever it is, whether it's a duology or whatever, and it's the last book, I want to feel closure. You know, I want to feel like all the little things in the stories, all the different small plots, subplots, whatever, they come together, they're solved. I know that the events in this book would move over to the Wicked Powers, which is the last trilogy, but there were so many things from the protagonist and so many things that could have been resolved way before. They haven't been resolved as yet, and I personally don't like that. Like it's stretching the subplots too much, I think, you know, and that's the only thing. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you have a great day. Take care. Bye.